Okay, are you ready, Crystal?
I'm ready.
All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Facilitating Relaxation in IAIM classes with Crystal Miles. Crystal Miles is an IAIM international trainer based in the United Kingdom. Crystal joined the IAIM mission in 2011, mentored by Sylvia Hettu, and began her trainer process in 2017. She has previously supported the UK board as SIMI support coordinator and regional representative for London. As well as instructor training, Crystal continues to run regular infant massage parent courses and loves nothing more than witnessing the intimate bond that forms between parent and baby through nurturing touch and staying connected to the roots of the movement. Everybody, Crystal Miles.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that lovely introduction. And thank you all for being here and for having me. It's always a privilege to come and talk at your conference. It's so wonderful. And what a talk to follow up on. So I'm sure you all caught Dr. Nugent's talk there, which was just amazing. And so in line with all of our ethos and the states and the cues and the baby behavior. I just loved it. So I hope we're going to have a really practical session. I hope you're going to enjoy my presentation. I'm just going to share my screen so you can see what we're doing today. Okay. So today's presentation is on facilitating relaxation in IAIM classes. So this is actually a IAIM approved continued education course, and I've got an hour with you. It's normally 2, so I'm going to just cram in as much as I possibly can and give you as much value as we can get in your hour. Hopefully what you're going to leave with today are some really good ideas for doing relaxations in your classes, but also understanding why this small part of our class is so valuable and so important. So I'll go through the class outline in a moment, but you'll see we're going to delve into the science, the benefits, and we're going to find out why it's so essential for parents, for babies, and for you as the instructor to have a really nice relaxation, and for our classes to feel relaxing as well. So a little bit about me, as Seth probably gave me a lovely introduction there, but for those of you who don't know me, I'm an international trainer, but with other hats on. One of the reasons that I came to develop this workshop was from some of my previous experience. So I'm also a trained nutritionist, so with a good understanding of anatomy and physiology and how the body works. I also trained in hypnosis for birth and birth relaxation. Also NLP and specifically supporting with relaxation, birth trauma, and trauma rewinds. So alongside that, when I became to mark my students' assignments as a trainer, I kept noticing in those lovely boxes that you have to fill in when it came to your relaxation session each week, people would just write breathing every week, which is fine. And then sometimes in the course reflection, it would be like, what would you like some more education on? And it would come up, I'd like some more ideas for the relaxation. So I thought, I'll create something. I'll use the experience that I have so far to come up with a workshop that hopefully can give you value and some new ideas. Okay. So this is what we're going to do in our session today. So as I said, we're going to have a look at relaxation in general in our classes. So before we even get to that little section of relaxation, how do we create the feeling of relaxation? How do we welcome parents and babies and put them at ease the moment they walk through, before they even walk through our door? We're going to delve into some science of the relaxation. So we're going to have a look at some neuroscience. We're going to have a look at the stress response in the body. We're going to have a look at the autonomic nervous system and how and why that benefits parents and babies. And then with as much time as we have, we're going to do lots and lots of practical examples. So we're going to take you through some breathing exercises, help you with some ideas to regulate yourself, your parents, your babies, and some different examples perhaps that maybe you haven't thought of, or maybe just can give you some variety. Okay, so I thought I'd start by getting an idea of where you are. So no judgment here. We all do things differently, and sometimes we're at different levels of comfort in terms of delivering a relaxation. So I just want to have a look at this short poll and just click any of the answers that apply. You can click as many as you like, but for example, I leave the relaxation out. Sometimes when I do refresher courses, people let me know this. Actually, I just leave it out because I don't know what to do. And it's all anonymous. So if that's you, feel free to press the button. Maybe use the same relaxation each session. Again, there's nothing particularly wrong with that, but maybe you would like some variety. Do you feel your parents are engaged? Do they join in with you? Is that something you're looking to expand on? You feeling good? Just here for some new ideas. And again, I'm worried perhaps that my classes don't feel relaxing. So just give you a moment for the responses, and I'll let you share that, Steph, once we've got some answers in there.
Yep, people are pouring in with their answers right now. The one that's not been clicked, though, 0 responses, is I often leave relaxation out.
Good. Well, that's great. It's always a good
Yeah.
start, but you know, sometimes you just don't, which is wonderful. Sometimes people think, oh, I better not push that button, because it is a mandatory part of our course and our classes. But you know, it's really fine. Sometimes that's why you're here, if that is you and you're not wanting to press the button, because you know, we're looking to improve your confidence and give you some fresh ideas.
All right. It looks like most people have responded to the poll, and coming in at number 1 is I tend to use the same relaxation each session, followed by I'm okay, just looking for more ideas. Coming in third is I'm worried my classes don't feel relaxing. And last but not least, I don't feel the parents are engaged.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you for sharing and your honesty. And as I said, my aim for this workshop is that you're going to come out hopefully feeling that you have some fresh ideas, feeling more confident, and again, on how to engage your parents, how to maybe mix it up a little bit, offer something a bit different. And also, as part of the resources, I provided a little PDF version of a booklet that I often give in the full workshop, which is going to give you some examples, some breathing techniques, some guided relaxations, and just some different elements that we're going to cover today. So you'll have some ideas in the booklet as well. Okay, just going to close the poll down so I can see. Okay, so why relaxation? So a good place to start. I wanted to start by asking if you know how long a relaxation is supposed to be. So the actual element in our classes of relaxation, according to your instructor manual, how long should that element of your class be? Take a guess. You can pop it into the poll for me.
Oh, so it won't be in poll, but people can put it in the chat.
Sorry, chat. Sorry, it's late here.
That's okay.
Pop it in the chat for me.
Yep, everyone should be able to chat, and they can pop it into the webinar chat.
No silly answers.
Oh, here we go.
20
Answers
minutes,
are rolling
1
in
minute.
now.
Okay, so 3 to 5 minutes, 1 to 2 minutes, 15 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. 5. So quite a lot of variety. It might interest you to know that according to your instructor manual, read the room, that's a good answer. According to your instructor manual, the relaxation should last between 1 and 2 minutes. So a very tiny part of your 60 to 90 minute class, just 1 to 2 minutes. Now, that doesn't mean it can't be longer. So again, I love that answer there from Jill. Read the room. Actually, if your parents are really engaging and they're benefiting from the relaxation, then it absolutely can be longer. Maybe that the relaxation element of your class before the strokes, which is when it's suggested in the manual, just lasts 1 to 2 minutes, but maybe you have some more time. Maybe later on in the session, or once the babies are all relaxed after they're dressed, you think maybe I'll do a longer relaxation then. But the relaxation part that's really essential is before the strokes, because we want to make the massage successful. And we know that we want to put parents and babies at ease before a new activity. Because studies show that when we are more relaxed, we have higher brain function, increased awareness, it can help improve relationships, we can be more attuned to each other. So knowing that babies can pick up on the emotional cues of others, we're going to touch on mirror neurons later, and if you're here, that means you're not with Suzanne doing a wonderful talk on mirror neurons, so hopefully you can watch that on the recordings to delve more deeply into that subject. But yeah, we want to make sure that if the parent is feeling relaxed and calm, then hopefully the babies will be feeling more relaxed and calm. So we want to put parents at ease. Maybe it's the first time they've left the house with a new baby. Maybe it's the first course or class they've attended. This is quite common in our classes for infant massage to be one of the first. Maybe it was just a terrible night or a stressful morning, or all the reasons that a parent might walk into your class and feel that they could, be quite stressed. So we want to make sure before they're hands on babies that they're feeling really, really calm and relaxed. So before strokes, always a short relaxation of 1 to 2 minutes, but that doesn't mean that you can't incorporate a lot more in your classes. So I want to talk about that in general in terms of our classes. So, pop ideas in the chat for me before your parents even arrive in your classes, down to when they are welcomed into your room and as they walk into your space. What can we do in terms of our environment to help parents and babies feel more relaxed? So you're welcome to share ideas. Put them in the chat room if you want to join in. Lighting, absolutely. Natural light is ideal, soft lighting, avoiding neon lights, strip lights, spotlights, which can really interfere with, think about where babies lie. I always say that if you think about, if you go and check out a new venue, the first thing I say to do is lie on the floor and look at the ceiling. What can the babies see? Music in the background, warm temperature, pace of your own voice, absolutely. Ventilation, modeling through your own voice and body. The warmth, yeah, that can definitely make us feel tense when we come in and we have to undress, especially a new baby. We don't want parents thinking, I'm absolutely not going to undress them because it's too cold. So a really nice warm temperature. Playing Amitomike, I love that. A break from the digital, tune into babies, tune out of all other distractions. Yeah, some really great answers coming through here. I wanted to touch on music. For my question, I absolutely agree to have, sometimes soft music or relaxation music, maybe lullabies as you enter a room, and you can use that as, again, perhaps as a cue when your session has ended. But to avoid having it during the massage itself, I'm sure that your trainers have gone through that with you, but there's research that shows what babies can hear and tune into, and sometimes what they call the cacophony of noise. If there's too much going on in the room, babies actually find it hard to pick out one sound. And what do we want babies to be listening to? Their parents. So we want to encourage that vocalization, whether it's just through speaking and role modeling or singing or rhymes. We want them to be able to hear their parents. So ideally, no music during the actual practice, but music to enter can often really calm us and make us feel very welcome. Thank you. Yep, someone's mentioned that already. Turn it off at the start of the class. Smile, welcoming attitude, absolutely. Knowing where the bathrooms are, knowing where everything is. So in that first welcome to your room, go through your health and safety, your class guidelines, a nice clean room, absolutely. Even from the beginning, even before they arrive in your class, what to expect. Knowing that it's baby-led, knowing that crying is welcome, okay? Knowing that it doesn't matter if you join in or not, you can just watch. If your baby's asleep, you can practice on a doll. All of those class conditions that we lay out there at the very beginning, and possibly for the first few sessions, just reminding them babies can be babies here. That straight away is going to take off the stress of the parents walking into your room. Also, the question that comes up the most for me, I don't know about you, is there parking? Maybe that's a UK problem, but every parent, that's the first thing I get. Can I park? I've got a new baby and I'm driving somewhere and I'm mostly just worried about whether I can park. So having a welcome email that lays all of the information out, and just, again, reminding them their babies can feed, they can poop, they can cry, you can stand up and rock them and move about, and just putting them at ease. That's what parents want to hear. So we can do all that before they even arrive. And then once they're in the room, obviously, as people have said, you're greeting, role modeling your own relaxation. If you're a bit late and stressed and still setting up and getting everything ready, then that can have an impact perhaps on the group. Maybe an icebreaker, a lovely way to help people feel relaxed and welcome into the room. Everyone gets a small chance to share and to speak. And maybe it can, there's other ways that can relax people. Maybe it's humorous. Maybe you can ask them, because laughter can relax us too. Maybe you'll say, oh, what's the most embarrassing thing that's happened with your baby so far? Something like that can perhaps get some laughter in the room, because that can help too. And nurturing, I would say, can help to relax people. So maybe, where do you add your refreshments? I've had some classes where parents will come in and just say, oh, Crystal, I just need a coffee. I can't do anything without coffee. So sometimes we'll have our refreshments at the beginning, or maybe they'll come later in your session. We know that's flexible, but again, flexibility is important in our classes, but sometimes that can really help to relax people. if we nurture them as well and say, we'll look after you and you can look after your babies. With this in mind, thinking about what makes massage successful, I just want to go back to Angela Underdown's research, so from the University of Warwick, this wonderful research that talked about the 14 key mechanisms. So this was about massage being successful, Angela Underdown, and she talked about those 14 key mechanisms. And when I think about each one, I think every single one involves facilitating some relaxation in some way. So you've got those personal invitations is one. The inviter facilitates the group. So it's not a new person all of a sudden, it's the person that I've had some contact with and that sent me the email. I'm just starting to get to know them. The setting meets the physical needs. So we know from your suggestions, we can do a lot with the setting. And also it's appropriate, it's clean, it's warm, the lighting is right. A containing atmosphere that affirms mothers and infants. Learning the massage strokes, of course, lots of relaxation involved there. Optimum group sizes. So again, Angela suggests 4 to 8 parent and baby groups is the optimum in terms of massage being successful, not too big, not too small. A provision for social engagement. The facilitator has the necessary technical skills, which you all do. Facilitator has the necessary personal qualities, again, which you all will. The facilitator models sensitive interactions with their doll, so we know how important role modeling is. We teach about infant states, we teach about infant cues. Again, how reassuring for parents there if they're thinking, I'm going to go to this course and my baby's going to cry all the time and they're going to cry through the session. I've had calls like that. I want to book your class, but my baby cries all the time. And I think, yeah, everyone thinks their baby cries all the time, but no, you know, those babies come and they really do cry all the time. And those parents can feel so stressed and so worried. So again, just in advance, saying crying is welcome, crying is communication. We're going to have a conversation around that. You're going to learn about the states where you're going to learn that crying is just one of them. It's a normal thing that babies do, and just trying to put them at ease beforehand, understanding those yes and no cues, and the use of singing as well within a group. So we know that despite all these other wonderful inventions that they're trying to replicate what can soothe babies, better choices other than our voices is what they say, but your voice, the parent's voice, is the most soothing, calming tool that they have for their babies. So to perhaps role model or facilitate the use of singing in a group. It doesn't have to be singing. I think, again, if you're not a singer, I think there's no pressure. It could just be vocalization, it could be talking rhymes, but something that encourages them to use their voice. We saw in Peter Nugent's presentation there how valuable and how much babies tune in and are familiar with their baby's voice from being in utero. So we know how important that is. So all of those, I think, when you think about those 14 key mechanisms, which she is saying as a provision makes the massage successful. And I always think that's amazing, because that 14, one of those is massage strokes. We know there's so much more to our program that makes the massage successful. But if you think about every single one, they also help to facilitate relaxation and to put parents and babies at ease. So we know that stress can pass from parents and babies as well. We know that the parents and babies are in what we call a biorhythm with each other. So again, the massage is much more likely to be successful if we can set the parents at ease and make them feel nice and calm and relaxed. So with that in mind, I thought, seeing as you've got a whole day, presentations, so much learning, and we're going to go through some science next, so why don't we start with our own relaxation? So I thought I'd give you your first example to relax you into the session, and to give you an example of what I would call a guided relaxation. I thought I'd just welcome you into the space with a short guided relaxation. So you are very welcome to make yourselves comfortable. If you wish to, and I would say the same to parents, never any pressure for anybody, because that can stop relaxation straight away if you're not comfortable with it, especially for babies. If you think about the still face experiment, or, you know, we want parents and babies to be able to be in tune with each other, and sometimes babies can be a bit unsure if they can't see their parent's face or they close their eyes. So it's a choice. So depending on where they are holding or handling their baby, I might suggest you can close your eyes if you wish to, or maybe just allow your gaze to soften. So I want you just for a moment to connect with the space that you're in. Perhaps take some awareness to the surface that you're sitting on. Maybe you have your feet on the floor. And when you think about what you can see, or if your eyes are closed, what you can sense in the space that you're in. Are there sounds in the background? So you can hear some passing traffic, maybe a clock ticking, birds singing. I just want you to take a moment to just tune in to the sounds in your room and just be really present in this moment. And you might like to take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth when you're ready. Just breathing at your own comfortable pace, in through the nose until your lungs are full, and out through the mouth. You might begin by taking a deep breath in, allowing the air to flow all the way down into your tummy, and then as you breathe out, experiencing a wave of relaxation that flows all over you, from the top of your head, all the way down to your toes. Continue to breathe regularly. I want you to feel your shoulders drop to their natural level, your jaw relax, all muscles loose and limp and relaxed. And as you continue to just be aware of your breathing, you can allow yourself to breathe naturally in and out. Nice and easy. There's absolutely no need to breathe in any particular way, no need to control it or force it in any way. And as you breathe naturally and easily in and out, imagine yourself breathing in calmness and breathing out any tension that's in your body. Just allow the wave of relaxation to wash through your whole body. Breathing in calmness and breathing out tension. Breathing in calmness and breathing out tension. When you're ready, you can open your eyes or refocus and join me back in the presentation. Okay, here we go. Relaxed and ready to learn. So research tells us, as I've said, when we are relaxed, we pay more attention, we are more open to learn, and we actually form better memories. So hopefully you'll take in the information from the presentation and feel relaxed and calm as we go forward. To mention about engaging your parents as a topic that came up is thinking about your own enthusiasm. So sometimes when parents and babies are in the class with you, and you're trying to lead this relaxation, but someone's changing a nappy and someone's seeing to their baby and someone's rocking and moving around. And what the main tip I would give you there is imagine that you're in an aerobics class or an exercise class, or that you've seen one on the telly. And I just want you to think about how you would feel if you were in that space and someone was standing in front of you ready for this workout, and they were literally just standing there going, lift your arm above your head, now the other one, now do a squat. Like, you just wouldn't join in, you wouldn't engage. So sometimes it might just be you or a couple of parents that are joining in a relaxation. So what I would say there is just go for it. Give it your all and give it confidence. And it's okay if some people aren't joining in. The other thing is, if it always involves some breathing or some kind of breathing exercise, no matter what's going on, everybody can join in with that. So maybe you're going to move on to something, maybe some gentle stretching or some self-massage. And if they're not available to do that, they can always do the breathing, and the breathing will help with regulation. So always include some deep breathing, but really go for it. And there are studies to show that actually, if you are in a room of relaxation, of oxytocin, it's like the massage. Even if they're not joining in, you get that oxytocin effect. And also it creates that calmness in the room. So even if they're not physically joining in, they're going to pick up on that atmosphere, and that's going to set them at ease and help them to feel more relaxed. Also, what week are you on? Maybe in week 1, depending on your group, maybe longer for some other groups, they're not ready. They don't feel safe yet. They're not sure who you are and what's going on here. And they want, not going to be asked to do something crazy. So give them time to just see how your session runs. There are some benefits. Some people say they do the same relaxation each week. You can give it variety if you want, but there can also be benefits for, in adult learning, we don't like to be surprised. So to kind of know what's coming. So maybe you could do a similar breathing exercise, for example, and then try something else alongside it. Experiment, see what works well for your group. But I always say involve some breathing. Okay, yeah, I'm going to move on. I'm sure you've had enough of looking at that slide. Oh, decided not to work. That's always great. Here we go. This is just an example of a room setup. Actually, this is from just coming out of COVID time. So actually, if I was setting up this room now, all those mats would be touching and the parents and babies would be much, much closer. But those chairs are, I think, a good 2 meters apart, as they had to be in that time. But I just wanted to give you an example of the room itself. And sometimes with social media and images, we've got this idea that everything needs to be busy and exciting and full of stimulation, and it's the opposite of what we want in our classes. We want it to be really simple. We want parents and babies to feel relaxed, but for there to really not be much else going on in the room. To the left out of the screen here is just a window of natural light, so there's natural light coming in, and then it's just basic. If you're in a busy room, maybe you train in the same room as the sensory lady, or in your family center or something like that. Go in with blankets and cover it up and just make it as plain and boring as possible, because actually that's more beneficial. We want parents, so babies and parents and babies, to focus on each other. We don't want the babies to be distracted. I was marking an assignment recently, and it was wonderful, but in the middle there was this absolutely amazing blanket, but it was almost like those books you buy with the black and white contrast for babies, just like a whole blanket. And I was just thinking, that baby is not going to look at their parent at all during the session, because that's amazing. And they're just going to focus on that. So think about your colors, even yourself. I've made the mistake sometimes of going with these kind of black and white checked trousers that I have, and I'm like, oh no, I've worn the wrong trousers, and I noticed that all the babies are staring at them. So just really lower your stimulation in terms of your own setup. So just a little image I've added there for you. So my amazing chairs. I always get messages about these amazing chairs. You can lean. Right, let's stay on topic. So let's move on to the sciencey part. So I want to talk about what's actually physically happening in the body in terms of the stress response, so that you can understand why this part is so important. So when we think about the stress response, and we don't know where parents are coming from, as we said, sometimes they'll tell you what's going on in their life. Maybe there's a registration form. Sometimes you won't have a clue. We'll look at the different types of stress in a moment, but we don't always know what somebody's going through, or where they might be on what we call the wheel of emotion. We don't know how their night was, how their morning went, or what happened on their way in. So what we do know is that the body can have a physical response to stress. So I'm just going to talk you through that from the side of kind of the brain and the body, and why the relaxation part, as small as it is so important for our classes. So we have these kind of 3 basic steps when you think about the brain in terms of our stress response. So we have what we call the kind of alarm state. So that's like the amygdala, which kind of sends a message and sends a signal to the brain that there's a threat, there's fear, there's something that we're not sure about. So as I said, maybe that's just walking into a new room with a crying baby for the first time that you've left the house. Maybe that's where the parent is. And then we have the acceleration. So what's happening there? So this message that goes to the hypothalamus part of the brain that says, okay, we need to do something about this threat. And that's what we call that kind of fight or flight response that you may have heard of. So we'll go into more detail with that in just a moment. And then we have the third step, the kind of stop or the pause effect, which is again happening in the prefrontal cortex or the hippocampus. And that's about regulation and getting back to that place of safety. And that was interesting about that third step is that babies don't have that. Their brains aren't developed enough for that yet. And I will leave that for you with Dr. Greer tomorrow, who will, I'm sure, do an entire presentation about babies. So we'll just stick with parent stress for now. So when our body senses a stress, it sends a signal about that stimulus to the brain, and then we have a response. So that's what's happening with the hypothalamus. So that's alerted to arouse the autonomic nervous system. the ANS, which is the system that controls most of the organs of your body. So most of the time, without really giving it too much thought, your body knows what to do. It knows how to regulate and function your heart, your lungs, your stomach, your glands, even your blood vessels. And with these organs, the ANS is responsible, and we're kind of unconscious. We breathe and our heart beats, and we don't have to think too much about it. Now, the hypothalamus in the brain is in charge of that stress response, as I mentioned. So when the stress response is triggered, it sends a signal. So, for example, it might send like cortisol or adrenaline to the brain and the body. So let's say it's going to be a stress response. Let's go with the good old-fashioned saber-toothed tiger runs into the room. Okay, your brain goes, there's a tiger here, what am I going to do? So we have these kind of options here with again, they've got the fight or flight. It's actually freeze, fight or flight. So the first thing is you freeze and you panic, and then your body makes a decision: am I going to stand and am I going to fight that tiger, or am I going to just run away from it? Either way, if you think what has to happen is that the body has to send its blood, and therefore its energy, its oxygen, its nutrients, everything to the extremities. And so I either need everything here in the hands and the arms to fight this tiger, or equally into the extremities down to your legs, because you need to run as fast as you can. But what happens in that moment is it's re-diverted from all of your essential organs. So, obviously we still function and your heart still beats and we're still breathing, but there can be a kind of different response. So, for example, they talk about your eyes being on stalks, or your heart starts beating very quickly, or your breathing becomes very rapid, and we kind of get into this dysregulated sympathetic system, which we'll move on to in a moment with the ANS. But this is the short-term stress response. So, and this is what's produced by that fight or flight response. And this is what happens when there's a threat. So in terms of looking at short-term stress, let's go on to the next. We have, in terms of the ANS, your autonomic nervous system. You have these two sides of the system. So you have your parasympathetic nervous system. Now, this is the state that you are in when generally things are going well. You're feeling quite calm and relaxed. Maybe it's week 3 of your baby massage course, and magic week 3, you're coming into the relaxation, everything's good. This may be where kind of parents are at, or maybe hopefully now, when you're feeling fairly relaxed and calm after a nice relaxation, not too much bothering you. And again, your body knows what it needs to do. So it's going to regulate its oxygen, its blood, its nutrients, its energy, everything where it needs to be in your body. So maybe you've just had time is it there, lunch, dinner, whatever, and it's going to focus on the digestive system. It's going to think about digestion. Maybe you're feeling a little bit cold, and it's going to decide focus on kind of to help warm you up. Maybe you're not feeling that great, and it's going to focus on your immune system. So basically, when you're in the parasympathetic nervous system, your body knows what it needs to do, and it does so brilliantly and unconsciously. We also call this the rest and digest state. So when we're in the sympathetic nervous system, or that freeze, fight or flight system, that's when we have this kind of other response. So that's when that stress response kicks in. Something is signaling a stress to my body, and the way I'm going to react is to perhaps release these stress hormones, most likely cortisol, adrenaline. I'm going to feel dysregulated. Again, the blood, nutrients, oxygen, everything is going to be in the extremities. And I'm going to find it harder in this state to concentrate, to learn, to make memories, all of these things that we want parents and babies to do in our classes. So we want them to learn, and we want them to remember the strokes that we're teaching them, and we want them to be calm and relaxed and enjoy and be available to their babies. So we don't want them to be stuck in this sympathetic nervous system response. When I'm in the parasympathetic, good hormones, good things happen. So this is when we get the release of oxytocin, maybe endorphins, our body's natural pain relief, dopamine, that feel-good hormone, prolactin, all of the really positive hormones that we want the parents to receive in our classes. Whereas in that sympathetic, we're going to get that adrenaline response, and again, those blocks to inhibit learning. Maybe there's stress, anxiety, nervousness. And we know, especially if there are prolonged or repeated exposure to this stress, that it's not good for us. It's not good for our bodies. They say that stress is the biggest killer. So we want them to be in the parasympathetic nervous system. Now, you can only be in one or the other. But the really good news is that you can swap very quickly. So again, perhaps everything's going really well for this parent and baby. They've come to a new class, they walk in and they go, "Oh, this is nice, it's really relaxing. I love what you've done here. Feel very calm." And then their baby starts crying, for example, and maybe they jump into that sympathetic nervous system. But you're there to greet them with a friendly smile and a welcome to the room, and just a reminder at the beginning of the class, babies can cry, their communication is welcome, and that will help to bring them back down. If they need a little bit more support, again, that's where our relaxations come in. So those breathing exercises, in a simple term, is a great way, that regulation, to help to bring somebody back into that parasympathetic nervous system. You see on television screens, etc., if somebody's having a panic attack, they get them to calm down, they get them to breathe. It's regulation. We want to help to regulate our parents and babies, so that they can be available to each other, so the parent can be available to the baby, so they can learn and enjoy and mirror and be in that kind of biorhythm with them. So you can only be in one or the other, is the summary, but you can switch very easily between the two. So we know if, again, our parent arrives in the class in that sympathetic nervous system, that small 1 to 2 minutes of relaxation is going to help bring them back to this parasympathetic nervous system, make them more available to their babies, make them more available to learn and to feel relaxed and enjoy the session, and therefore for massage to be much more successful. So not to the different types of stress. So I just want to talk about this. Again, we don't know where our parents are coming from necessarily in terms of life and what they might be experiencing. And as it said here, stressed parents are shown to be less responsive to their infants. And we know how important our work is to encourage that sensitive caregiving, to be responsive and to be available to their babies. So we want them to be relaxed, super important. So just to touch on the different types of stress. So there's positive stress. So that's good news. So we all actually benefit from a little bit of stress in our lives. So some low-level anxiety that you might have, for example, if you meet new people, if you come to a new class, maybe you're getting something really random, an injection, a driving test or injection at the doctor's, something that you don't particularly like. That's kind of a low-level anxiety that we can generally cope with. If you think about kind of stress versus distress, among the benefits of beneficial stress are improved skills such as creativity, improved proactivity, productivity. They make us push ourselves out of our comfort zone and broaden our perspectives. Maybe something we've overlooked before. Maybe it's what pushes you to do a bungee jump or something a bit crazy. It's not one that I'm going to choose. But it pushes us forward, and it can be really motivating for us. It's kind of a controlled risk situation. So positive stress is something that generally we can cope with quite well, and it doesn't have any long-lasting effects. They actually suggest that it's important to note that zero stress is not recommended. So we should all have this kind of even a minor stress in our life, even that little bit of cortisol. We all have a little bit of cortisol running through our bodies because we know that regulation can be really positive. Stress is adaptive, and not feeling that's kind of, it causes us to kind of stagnate. So it makes us more interesting as people to have a little bit of stress and push us outside of our comfort zones. It's kind of energizing. Then you have the tolerable stress. So this might be something a bit more serious, maybe the loss of a loved one, or a natural disaster, or just something that isn't good for us. But we know with tolerable stress, if we have supportive caregivers around, or if we can have people that can help to buffer that stress response and help us to regulate, that it won't do that kind of lasting damage to our brains. So that's kind of what we call tolerable stress. And then we have the toxic stress as well, which is something much more serious, perhaps, again, intense anxiety for something that's gone on for a long time, like perhaps abuse or neglect. And we know perhaps that can impact not only our stress levels, but how our own touch experiences and how we find the massage, for example. This kind of stress can weaken our brain architecture and can actually disrupt healthy development. So this can happen when there's no supportive caregivers around, for example, in babies, if they don't have somebody to help to buffer that stress response, as I said, or to help them to regulate because their brains aren't able to do that. If that goes on for a long, long time, or there's neglect or abuse, that can cause that kind of toxic stress. So we want to avoid that obviously we can't avoid who comes to our classes, but this is what we're trying to do through our work, is to help people to have that sensitive caregiving, to have those positive responses to stress, to know that stress can be regulated. The more that parents see to babies' needs, the more they understand, okay, I was stressed, but then I was helped and I got better and it's okay. And then the brain will favor those pathways for us to be less stressed children, adults, etc. So we don't know who's coming, but we know that the parent could be anywhere in that cycle of emotion, and that everybody has some stress. So how the parents deal with it can help their baby's emotional growth. So we want them to be as relaxed as possible so that they can be available to meet their baby's needs. And again, a little bit of stress can give us that motivation and purpose. And if you have that healthy response to stress, then the baby will mirror you. Again, that goes back to those mirror neurons. You can check out that talk with Suzanne. Okay. So talking about that, so stress and mirror neurons. So if you think that mirror neurons can also influence emotional and social bonding. They say that we as humans are social creatures, and we tend to identify and favor people that are similar to us. So mirror neurons that set us up to connect with other people because they have the ability, we have the ability to process other people's actions as our own. So that's, again, how babies learn. We can feel what other people are feeling. So, for example, have you been in that situation where maybe you've passed somebody your baby, or you've seen somebody else do it? If you don't have a baby, who doesn't want to hold a baby or never has before? And that reaction, what do you see? They're here, hold my beautiful baby, I'm so proud of them. And that person goes, okay, what do I do with this? And what does the baby do? Quite often starts crying. It picks up on that face, on the facial expressions, on the tension, on the kind of, maybe they've jumped into that sympathetic nervous state, and the babies can really pick up on that. The same thing happens, in a positive way. So, if there's a big joke in the room and the baby's in there, they think it's hysterical, even though they don't get the joke. So, baby learn through these kind of mirror neurons. They're connecting with the actions of others, and they kind of learn to experience the same emotion. So again, it's like when you're sticking your tongue out at a baby. So if you have a newborn baby and you poke your tongue out for long enough, then they'll stick their tongues out, even days within birth, copying the action made from the caregiver. So babies can pick up so much from their parents. So again, it's not a video I like to particularly share in the presentation, because actually I think find it quite distressing. But if you've ever seen the still face experiment, you can have a look on YouTube if you're curious and you haven't seen it. But this parent just becomes completely unavailable to their baby. They having just been talking and smiling and interacting, the mother's face just goes completely still. She doesn't show any emotion whatsoever. And the baby at first tries all its little tricks, pointing at things, and it's showing her, and it's squealing, it's trying to get a reaction. And when it's, after it doesn't get a reaction from its mother, in not very long at all, the baby starts to get really distressed and starts kind of crying and all dysregulated, completely disorganized, until the mother is then like, oh, I'm sorry, it's okay. And she comes back and the baby smiles again, and it's a bit like, didn't like that, but I'm okay. But this creates the opportunity for the baby to imitate and learn through the action. They gain experience in how much to move their mouths, their tongues, how to connect with their caregiver. They learn about empathy, understanding. So there's so much going on with the responsiveness between parents and babies. So how does this relate back to the relaxation? Well, it's that simple. The parent is at ease, is relaxed enough to feel comfortable, to feel that there's not tension in their bodies or their hands, that they're not shaking or stressed or unsure or hesitant. The babies will pick up on all of this. So the more we can encourage the parents to be relaxed with, in both their body and their mind, and in absolutely their facial expressions, but we can't just tell them to do that. In the history of saying to people, oh, just relax, nobody ever relaxed. So we need some techniques. And again, this is where our short relaxation comes in. So if we can just start them off with a nice relaxation, put them at ease in all those other ways we talked about in our classes, and give them a physical regulating response, then that's going to really support them. Okay, thank you for the link there is that the still face experiment, I'm guessing? Yep. Okay, thanks for that. I should pop it in. So mirror neurons also thought to influence language, and babies mimicking. That's how babies learn, they imitate. So this is the most important way that they learn. So Again, all that role modeling through the classes. If the parents are much more likely, once they're relaxed, once they're familiar with the classes, once they've kind of gone, okay, this is all right, and maybe I'm feeling a bit brave on week 2, maybe I'm going to join in the song this week, maybe I'm going to talk to my baby like my instructor is talking all the time to their dolls, right? You're doing that. The more we do it, you know, again, you say, talk to your dolls, no one will do it. If you start role modeling that and go, oh, are you enjoying that, little Jimmy? They're all going to copy you. So the more we can role model that, the better. But the mirror neurons provide the opportunity for the baby to learn, copying, interacting with others, encouraging that myelination, that you know, brain development, which is so important, obviously, in these early years. So benefits for both. Okay. So something else here, just talking about being present. So again, studies show us that the benefits of parents being present with their babies, which I think is becoming harder and harder and harder in the modern day, you know, and there's no judgment there. We're probably all guilty of the distractions of modern time. And that's why we have those class boundaries, you know, maybe we're just going to put phones away, not just on silent, because that little a buzz or a vibration, their brains aren't with their baby anymore. Their brain's now with that message, even if they can't pick it up and read it, their brain's going, I wonder what it is. So we just want to kind of get all those distractions away, untune and tune in to the babies, as we say. But the studies show that the benefits of this, of being relaxed, higher brain function, increased awareness, increased immune function, improved mental health, being more present and mindful can lead to more positive relationships. So let's link that back to our mission statement. That's exactly what we're trying to do here. We want parents and babies, parents to be present with their babies. We want them to really, truly notice them. We know this is going to enhance bonding. They're going to gain a deeper understanding of each other. They're going to connect on this other level through touch. So being present is a really nice way, a nice relaxation example, a nice one to bring in. So I did a very minor version of that with a little relaxation with you just now. So, you know, maybe get them to just tune into what they can use their senses. What can you see in the room? What can you hear? What can you smell? That's a brave one when you've got babies in the room. Well, you know, what's going on? What can you feel? What do you notice about your baby today? You know, something that really just brings them into the room and into that moment, because we're so distracted all the time. It's really hard being a parent in the modern day. So we just want our space and our classes to be this moment where you can just be truly present, because we can see how transformative this is, how important this is to the brain and the body and the baby. So that can be a nice example of a relaxation that you can try and that you can use. Okay. So regulation. So I've mentioned this already. As I've said, you know, you just tell people to relax. That doesn't do anything. So we need some tools. So as I already mentioned, no matter what relaxations you decide to use or try, always encourage some regulation with some deep breathing. That's the easiest way to regulate our nervous system, to get us back to that parasympathetic. So deep breathing is just one of the most effective ways. I did a simple exercise with you, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. You know, even if that's all you have the confidence to do in your classes, doing some deep breathing, everyone can join in with that. You know, and you can take that to different levels. Once they are relaxed through breathing, you could maybe add, we'll look at some other examples in a moment, but this can help, as it says, regulate the autonomic nervous system, lower heart rate, lower blood pressure, reduce stress hormones, and just help us to feel more calm and relaxed, help us to focus and be in the room and understanding the tasks and the learning and everything that's going on. Shallow upper chest breathing is part of that typical stress response system. So if we're in that sympathetic, we might have that kind of like really rapid breathing that you see it with babies as well. The stress response can be reduced by consciously breathing and using the diaphragm as well. So another one that I've popped in your booklets, I know we're not going to have time in our hour to go through all of the breathing exercises that I have, but they're all written out there for you if you want to have a look, is some, you know, really breathing down into the abdominal, really breathing into the tummy. You know, this helps to control the nervous system, encourages the body to relax, brings a range of these health benefits. And when we have that out breath, that's when we release oxytocin. So nice, slow, regulated breathing can really help. Another one I always pop up here is the box breathing. So just in terms of breathing exercises, so this is a really simple exercise. Again, I think I've put this in the resources for you if you like this visual. But you can ask your parents to visualize a box. and just get them to do some breathing around each edge of the box. So for example, you're going to breathe in along one side of the box. You can see where it's turning white, and then you're going to breathe out for 4 seconds as they visualize the bottom of the box. Hold that breath for 4 seconds. Breathing in across the top of the box for 4, 1. Hold the breath, 3, 2, 1. Breathe out. Hold. Breathe in. Hold. Breathe out. And they can just go around the box. So, I mean, if you go around the box breath, I don't know, 4 times, that's basically just over a minute. That's your minute. So, for example, you could just do a breathing exercise like that. But it's nice to make it a bit more exciting. So if breathing is works for you, good. I hope it works for everybody. Breathing is important. But also, and again, as I said, always include breathing. That's my top tip for the session, I think. But then we want to try something different. So again, in your booklets, giving you some different ideas. So who tries any of these? So some self-massage. How long have we got? I want to show you some squeezing some self-massage. So for example, there's a really lovely called lowering cortisol massage that you can do, and it's really simple, and they can do it with one hand. So if they're holding a baby, for example, and that's you can take one hand across to the other side of your body and just take hold of the back of your neck in the center, and you just kind of do a squeeze and pull. So for example, you just squeeze and pull from the center, bringing your fingers towards your hand, and you can just really slowly with your parents just work down the body. So perhaps they've got into that nice fleshy part of the shoulder. And again, you can take this nice and slow with your parents. I'm trying to squeeze a lot into your hour, so I'm going to go a bit faster, but then just keep moving down the arm, just doing that squeeze and pull. So we're taking everything down, squeeze and pull, and you'll go all the way nice and slowly to the hands when you can do that familiar stroke that we know. So we can roll from the base to the tip of each digit. You can do some hand massage. And when you get to the end, again, just shaking that arm out. I often ask the parents to see if they notice a difference. Often one arm feels more relaxed or longer than the other, and then you can repeat on the other side. So some self-massage tips. Face massage. We know some lovely face massage strokes, don't we? So do that. It also consolidates the learning. So for 1 week, I might do some face massage. So I might start on the forehead with our own strokes, relaxing the eyes. Okay. So we can do the strokes that we know and love, and again, helps the parents to learn the strokes that we teach them for their babies. Some gentle stretches again. So after some deep breathing exercises, it might be that you just then ask them to take their ear down towards their shoulder. Excuse me, voice is going. Back to center, down to the other side. Center again. Maybe some shoulder rolls, just some really simple stretches that just help to take the tension out of the body, particularly in the shoulders, which like to sit here, and the neck and the shoulders when holding babies, feeding babies, are often so tense. So just to take awareness of them down to their natural level, and just doing these gentle stretches or rolls can really just help to take the tension out. Guided relaxations, I gave you one example as a group today. Again, in your booklets, there's 3 or 4. You're welcome to use them and share them if you like them. They're aimed towards parents and babies. It's all in that PDF booklet if you like them. Affirmations. We don't have enough affirmations. So what parents and babies might appreciate is being told things are going okay, because they might not be feeling that. So what I might do, for example, is lead the parents and babies into some deep breathing. And then when they're feeling relaxed, I'm just going to read some statements out to them. So, for example, I take control of what I can and I let go of what I can't. My baby loves me no matter what today brings. I love my baby no matter what today brings. I am everything my baby needs. My baby doesn't want perfection, they just want me to be there. Tomorrow is a new day. I view mistakes as opportunities to learn and grow. My feelings are valid, just statements. Affirmations are just using words in a positive way. So perhaps we can affirm our parents in our space while they're here. being present, again, sights, sounds, smells, focusing on their baby, hopefully lots and lots of different examples. I'd love to hear what do you do? Do you have something that works really well with your parents? Something that isn't up on the list? You're welcome to share ideas. So I'm going to come on to the last slide. It's a whistle-stop tour, as I said, a condensed version of what is a 2-hour presentation as a CCE course. So I don't know if you are interested in the full course, you're very welcome to speak to your chapter and see if there's something available to bring to you. But asking them how to relax, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. That's just like the theory that we deliver. Ask your parents. What helps you to relax, and you know, can we share ideas together? My parents are both present. We do massage trade. When one massages the baby, they get a massage. Oh, I like that. That's nice. So I think I'd struggle to keep my focus on my baby though. I'd go into my own state of relaxation. Simple hand massage, self-massage. Thank you. Yes, you have a booklet. I've also I did make some small tweaks. I'm sure Stephanie will be delighted to hear to this presentation. Just updated a few pictures and a few slides. So I can email that again, but it's pretty similar. The slides are up in the resources. But so yeah, I've included a PDF version of the booklet that I give out in the workshop. So there's some examples there. There's several breathing exercises, several guided relaxations. Ideas about, again, self-massage, there's affirmations listed in there, there's some muscle progression relaxations as well. They're quite good. So you know, it's all there. You're very welcome to have it. It's in the resources section. Yeah. But if you have any questions, and so sorry, I did a whistle stop tour, but I hope I've got in as much value as possible in our hour together, and that you found it useful.
Of course, amazing as always.